January horror movies are a very specific kind of thing. The big seasons for horror movies are summer for the ones that are expected to be blockbusters, and of course the Halloween season. But then January comes around and horror fans have spent a long time seeing movie theaters filled with holiday season movies, maybe the occasional holiday themed horror movie, but for the most part, it's been a pretty dry spell since the end of October. And then January comes along, and there are usually at least a few movies for horror fans, and they tend to be not the blockbusters, not the Halloween season staples, but things that are a little bit different, things that are made high concept, relatively low budget, and sometimes what comes out of that is very interesting. And sometimes they are ambitious and they don't quite work. And hi, this is a Drafthouse Diary for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, when I went to the Alamo Drafthouse at Littleton's Aspen Grove to see Night Swim. Night Swim is a very January horror movie. Not a big budget, a couple of really good actors, but mostly a high concept. The outline of this is that Wyatt Russell plays a baseball player who's been forced into retirement from a pretty promising professional baseball career, but he has a severe illness. And he and his family move to a new suburban house that has a spring-fed pool in the backyard. And of course, spooky things begin to happen with regard to that pool. The acting in this movie is, for the most part, very strong. Wyatt Russell has the most range to display here, and he does a pretty good job showing both the complex character that he is at the beginning and also how that character changes as the various supernatural forces at play in this movie take their toll. And Kerry Condon, as his wife, also very strong role in holding the anchor of this family and being the main reactive force to what's happening to her husband. The pieces are all there for what could be a very good movie, but it falls apart, I think, in the second half. To me, a good horror movie has to have a strong central sense of mystery. There has to be something to be figured out, something to be learned and then dealt with. And this movie does have that. But I think the mystery in a horror movie has to be fairly straightforward once it is understood. It has to be comprehensible and faceable, unless you're dealing with the cosmic horror subgenre or something that is a specific exception to that. You need to have a mystery, figure out what that mystery leads to, what is the answer, and then figure out a way to deal with it, whether it's the girl in the well or the ghost or what it is. I feel as if Night Swim couldn't decide what its supernatural mystery was going to be, so they threw in everything. We've got primordial nature spirits, and we've got cryptids, and we've got ghosts, and we've got possession, and we've got everything you could think of. The movie does try to tie all these things together, but it doesn't try very effectively, and in the end, it winds up being muddled. Based on the first half, this could have been a very satisfying horror movie, and in the end, it just leaves you wondering really what's going on, and you start to see the seams in the writing by the time the movie wraps up. So I had high hopes going into this movie based on the first, 1/3 to half of the movie, and was pretty disappointed by the end. Other parts of my trip to the Alamo, the pre-show for this was, I think, a generic ghost story horror movie type pre-show. I don't think it was put together specifically for this movie. It had a lot of horror movie trailers and commercials involving Frankenstein, this kind of rockabilly Frankenstein music video. It had what appeared to be a clip from a cable access show about haunted Indiana, which was kind of strange and cool. It's a pre-show that worked, but it wasn't crafted specifically for this movie. I did get some food on this visit. I got a Philly cheesesteak, which I've had before at various Alamo locations, and they've been uneven. This time it was pretty good, but it was way too salty. Again, the seasoning specifically on those Philly cheesesteaks are very hard to predict. The theater was fine this time in. Very friendly and efficient staff. We were admitted for the pre-show right on time. Service was good, so it was a good visit there. So by and large, even though it was a disappointing movie, it was still a good trip to the movies. Thank you very much for joining me for this Drafthouse Diary. And if you're interested in a review of a January horror movie that was much more satisfying, take a look at this video for last January's Megan. I'll be back soon with more Drafthouse Diaries. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.